All right, everyone. Mounce, BBG, chapter 19, sentence 3 begins with this subject clause. Hey, Koine Sue Elizabeth. Hopefully, it doesn't take too much work to recognize Elizabeth as Elizabeth. And here you have, if we just treat it word by word, the woman of you, which, of course, in the context, because it's possessive, tells you that you ought to be translating Koine as wife. So it's your wife, and then you have Elizabeth, which of course refers back to your wife, which would make it what? In apposition to Koine, right? So if you're like me, just for my own satisfaction when I'm doing translation like this, I like to put commas in there because that helps my mind to see that we're dealing with apposition and that Elizabeth is in apposition to Koine. So I would do something like, your wife, the wife of you, your wife, comma, Elizabeth, comma, and then you come to the rest of the clause leading up to the chi, and of course we're going to use chi as sort of a splitter as we work through sentences. It's just a great place to split things. So looking at the verb, hopefully you have memorized the verb genao by now. Looking at a verb like that, you might be tempted to do ginomai or gnosko or something like that, but hopefully you recognize that double nu and tell yourself genao, and as soon as you say genao, you should hear that contract verb going on. So that should help you know what's happening here with the eta. But then you also see this end where you have not only a sigma, but you have the epsilon iota. The epsilon iota ought to tell you that oasa nominated usi, that it's third person singular. And of course, in this case, if it's he, she, it would be she because it's referring back to wife, right? Your wife. And although you're not going to say that's really would be what you're talking about is third singular. You also have this sigma. The sigma should tell you that it's future. So it's with genao being I bear or I give birth to, that kind of idea. This case, will bear or will give birth to, and then you have huian soy, a son, and then here in the dative, to you. And you can translate that one of two ways. Again, if I just treat this first, leading up to the chi, your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, or your wife Elizabeth will bear a son to you. Either one of those is just fine, because in both you're basically treating soy as the indirect object. So you're fine either way. All right, then you get to the chi. So and then we're going to look at this last clause. We have another obviously future verb, because hopefully you know kaleo, which happens to be another contract verb, and then you have the sigma, and then you have your ace, ace a. So in this case, it's a second singular, but tacking that, tossing that sigma in there tells you that it's future. Kaleo is I call. In this case, as a second singular future, you're going to say you will call. And then if we just walk across the name of him, and hopefully you recognize this last name as John. So, whoops, I didn't mean to do that. So, bottom line is your wife Elizabeth will bear you a son, and you will call his name, to John.